Amadeus makes the experience of travel better for everyone everywhere by inspiring innovation, partnerships, and responsibility to people, places, and planet. Our technology powers the travel and tourism industry, inspiring more open ways of working, more connected ways of thinking, centered around the traveler. Our open platform connects the global travel and hospitality ecosystem, from startups to big industry players and governments too. Together, redesigning the travel of tomorrow. Amadeus, it's how travel works. Visit us to know more, amadeus.com.
Hello and welcome to the Skift India Travel Podcast. I'm Peden, Skift's Asia editor. And if you've been following Skift's coverage of India, you'd know that there's a lot happening in the travel and tourism sector in the country. To discuss all this and more, I have with me my colleague, Bulbul Dhawan, our India reporter. Bulbul and I will be discussing some of the big headlines coming out from India recently. Welcome, Bulbul.
Hi, Peden. How are you?
I'm good, Bulbul. A lot is happening, Bulbul. It's keeping us busy, you and me. I want to begin with IndiGo's first ever order for wide-body aircraft. IndiGo has placed an order for about 30 Airbus A350 jets. Now, I was there I was listening to the investors meeting that Peter Elbers had, and the IndiGo CEO Peter Elbers. So Peter talked about a lot of things, but he didn't talk much about routes during the call. But of course, we know that this is a way in which IndiGo would expand its international network to obviously long haul destinations. It's already flying. It's got a whole lot of code shares going on. It's flying to Turkey. So last year, Indigo also placed the largest single purchase agreement in commercial aviation when it ordered about 500 Airbus A320 family aircraft. Um, we've been covering aviation a lot. What is the word on the street? What are people talking about?
Yeah, so like you said, it's Indigo's first ever wide body aircraft order, and they have 30 Airbus orders, Airbus 3 A350 orders placed on jets coming in already, and it also has the purchasing rights for 70 additional Airbus A350s, and
Mhm.
so it definitely means that they're looking to expand on like expand their network, their own network to long haul international destinations, because we
Yeah,
know.
and it's also Bulbul. I mean, like, don't you think that, of course, last year, the Civil Aviation Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia said that, he would want Indian carriers to establish India as an aviation hub. Campbell Wilson, when he came to the Skift India Summit, also talked about the fact that India has the potential. So I guess this is just because Indigo, being the largest airline in the country, is just trying to, do what it does best. I mean, like Indigo has been doing a fantastic job of connecting domestic destinations. But what I'm most, keen to know is that as someone, as an Indian, you also travel internationally. Would you be comfortable traveling, long haul on an Indigo airplane?
Personally, I would need to see the service, but I don't think I would really mind, because um for me, I don't know how to explain, but I don't think that I really would. I
I guess
don't think I would
I
have an
guess
issue.
I guess the price point is an issue. The price point is something, and if it is a really lucrative price, and I don't think we would mind, right? I know long haul is a different ball game when you're flying Delhi to New York,
Yeah,
and you don't have that kind of leg room. But I mean, I'm just wondering.
yeah, but then I mean, them having like the planes being absolutely new, I don't think I would have that much of an issue, because for me, a lot of the times that I have a problem in flying any airline is if their fleet is not really well kept. And so if like because
Uh-huh.
they're purchasing absolutely new aircraft, I don't think I would have an issue otherwise, because Indigo has a lot of things that plays in its favor. They have they have a very
Hmm.
good price advantage. They also have quite and like much better than anyone else. They have a good on time performance as well. So I think those two things really make a difference.
Yeah, I think if Peter Elbers or anybody from Indigo is listening to this today, so you are going to be their captive audience. You are going to be the one that they're going to cater to, because I guess because people generally, I guess, would have reservations. Some people, but
Yeah,
if you are saying that, so I guess I guess India is a very price sensitive place, right? So
yeah.
if we see that the price is really interesting, attractive enough for them to fly long haul, I guess they wouldn't really mind.
That too.
Interesting. I hope Peter Elbers is listening to this, and and they give us, and that would give him some idea of where he wants to
I
fly,
would
because
I would also
as far as they,
Yeah, I would also like to
so
add
yeah.
that Indians are very patriotic people. So the fact that there would be an Indian airline that would be flying long haul, I think that is also an audience that they can really capture.
Yeah, patriotic, yeah, but it would, yeah, definitely price point is a different patriotism. Yeah, and coming from aviation, let's go to hospitality. If you look at the hospitality industry,
Hmm.
recently IHCL, Indian Hotels Company, the brand that owns the Taj,
Hmm.
announced its decision to bring back the Gateway brand, from what it called, what the CEO Puneet Chatwal said, back from the drawer. So the brand, of course, is it's meant to capture the emerging markets in metros and tier two and tier three cities, and of course it's going to be in places where a Taj would be, the price point of a Taj would not be suitable, and they've already announced a gateway in Sarnath in Uttar Pradesh. And then, of course, there is the IHG group. IHG has opened its first Voco hotel in India, and of course Marriott has opened its 150th hotel in this last week. Now, since you work on the Skift India report, what do you make of the developments in the hospitality industry in India right now? Whether it is homegrown brands or whether it is international hospitality brands.
I think so. The industry is absolutely booming in India, and I think there is there's room for everyone, of course. But if we
Exactly, and it is hospitality is a very underpenetrated market, as we all know, right?
Yeah, and the proof of that is that like every brand, including whether it be IHCL or Marriott or IHG or Radisson, every one of them are targeting the tier two and tier three cities, because it's really a place where everything has been very mostly unbranded hotels have been playing the major role in those places. So every brand is racing against each other to capture those areas, and we know like that is also the case with Gateway, which is primarily targeting the tier 2 and tier 3 markets.
Yeah, and I guess Hilton Zubin. When I spoke to
Yeah.
Zubin last month, he also spoke about the fact that this is going to be its best year in India. Of course, Hilton has not had that many openings, but
Hmm.
now they had told me that almost every month they would have a hotel opening.
Yeah. Yeah, so if we look at the overall hospitality sector, it's growing, and it's a continuation of what happened in 2023. 2023, we know it was also in the JLL report, the consultancy firm. It's a report that there was I mean, it has been a record year 2023 in terms of hotel signings and openings for India. So and most of these
Mhm.
signings were in tier 2 and tier 3 cities. So this year is expected to be a continuation of that. And if we look at even say a Sarovar, which has had 7 hotels opened already, and then we have IHCL, which has a
Mhm.
new hotel signing or an opening coming up every week, multiple times a week, of course. Sometimes, if we look at that, it's just the sector is booming. IHG is on a roll. So is IHCL. ITC
Yeah,
is also catching
absolutely.
up. and Marriott, of course, has its 150th hotel that has opened. So I think if we look at this, if we look at the industry, it, I think when we look at, like, we look at Voco, or we look at a Gateway, they're opening more brands, and it's a vast bouquet of brands, and I think brands are realizing, the companies are realizing that India has a vast opportunity, and they can
Yeah,
target.
especially in the mid market
Yeah,
segment, right?
yeah,
Especially in the mid. We've spoken about the rising middle class in India and about how people are wanting to spend more rather than save. We've talked about how the generation before us was more in saving, and ours is more of a spend more. Recently spoke to Rajesh Mago from Make My Trip, and he also talked about the fact that the spend versus save dynamic is changing greatly
yes.
in India.
It is. And the thing that also works in India's favor is that we're very diverse and we're very choosy people. But what works for us is that we have the numbers to support each of these separate categories that we have in terms of preferences. So, companies that have a large bouquet of brands, it just makes sense to me that they would try to cater to as many groups that we have as possible, especially because we're now not afraid to spend.
Exactly. I mean, COVID has made us realize you only live once, so
Yeah.
we are living it up.
Yes.
But Bulbul, you recently also spoke to Sarovar's Ajay Bakaya, and he spoke about the fact that Sarovar is one of the fastest growing hotel chains in the country. But you said your story said that it's the company is shifting its strategy and focus from expansion, and it's trying to it's got a new playbook.
Yeah.
So why do you think that's happening, and what is the new playbook of Sarovar Hotels?
Amadeus makes the experience of travel better for everyone everywhere by inspiring innovation, partnerships, and responsibility to people, places, and planet. Our technology powers the travel and tourism industry, inspiring more open ways of working, more connected ways of thinking, centered around the traveler. Our open platform connects the global travel and hospitality ecosystem, from startups to big industry players and governments too. Together, redesigning the travel of tomorrow. Amadeus, it's how travel works. Visit us to know more, amadeus.com.
So for Sarovar, it has been expanding like never before. We know it has. It's about to open, like by the end of this year. It'll have 125 hotels in its operational hotels in the India portfolio, and by next year that'll be 150 hotels. And it's looking at a pipeline of 70 to 80 hotels. And so there's nothing that is stopping Sarovar's expansion in terms of the number of hotels. But what it is really focusing on right now is maintaining the quality that it's that his hot- that the hotels have always historically offered. So that is why they're changing their strategy. They're taking a step back from focusing solely on expansion, because Bakaya really wants to focus on keeping up that quality. And that is one of the biggest challenges that he thinks he has. And it's especially exaggerated by the current lack of talent in the hospitality
Hmm.
industry. So
Correct.
because over the years we've seen there is a shift in the way people work. So historically, hospitality workers in India, they have just they have been, they bend over backwards, they work long hours, they're on their feet for 10, 12, 16 hours sometimes. But that is changing because the younger generation, they are not okay with these with this way of working. They want a better work life balance, they want a more humane approach, I think. And so the industry needs to adapt to that. So I think that is one of the areas that Sarovar is focusing on how to deliver and match what they can offer with the demands of the new age workforce, because they really want.
Yeah, and I think your recent India report also spoke about the fact that how hotel industry has seen a surge in hiring, right? I mean, because earlier, I guess, after COVID, I think people realized that they moved on to other industries, and that workforce never returned to hospitality. So there was it was very understaffed. The hospitality
Yes.
industry in India was very understaffed. So that's why I think you had quoted a Naukri.com job search platform and said that there was a huge jump in hiring from this sector.
Yeah, I there is a huge surge, and that is also, I mean, of course, the for the past couple of years, the industry has been trying to play catch up with. So they were at
Mhm.
a very disadvantageous position, because as soon as the lockdown started opening up, people started traveling. I mean, visiting hotels like anything, but they did not, like, hotels were short on staff, because people, due to the uncertainty that surrounded the industry at during the pandemic, people left and they never returned. So they were facing a staff shortage, but people were coming in. So for the past 2 years, the industry was sort of trying to play catch up, just to have enough people to serve. And now, you see, I mean, but during this time, there's also been a large like a very very
Mhm.
there's been a huge expansion in terms of the number of hotels that are opening. So
Yeah, and I mean, we just spoke about how
yeah,
every brand wants so many properties in India,
yeah,
right? So of course, if they are opening these properties, these 100 key hotels, of course they will need staff
yeah.
to complement that.
And so they would need to, if they want that staff, they would need to cater to the demand of the people who can deliver that requirement for them. So that is
Correct.
exactly what Ajay Bakaya said. He said that, the organizations that are faster in terms of evolving and matching the demands of the workforce are the ones that will grow, because there's no, like, you can keep expanding, but if you don't have the people to deliver the quality of service that you have been upholding, it'll ultimately render you, maybe, it'll put you at a disadvantage.
Yeah, exactly. And we have Indian travelers have, they've been exposed to a certain kind of service,
Yeah,
and they would want that, right? I mean, like it's no longer that people would not come out of their homes and they would not travel, so they don't really know what hospitality, the hospitality sector elsewhere is like.
yeah.
From hotels, yeah, yeah, sure. Please go on.
Yeah, no, I was,
You were saying
no,
something?
I was adding to that, yeah, they Indians have been exposed to a certain level of hospitality, and now that they have the potential to spend for it, they're
Hmm.
spending on getting that hospitality experience, because they want to take a break from their homes, and they want to go out to hotels and just relax, and they want that kind of service.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and that's why we were talking about how weekend breaks are so big, right? I
yeah,
mean, like, any time there is a long weekend, whether it's 15th August or Easter or anything, we see droves of people going to uh, traveling within the country, and that's when we see these pictures of traffic jams all over. So
yeah,
yeah, I mean, like Indians are not going to stay at their homes now if there's a long weekend.
yeah,
Now, from hotels, Bulbul, I want to go to weddings. Of course, the whole band Baja Barat. So, of course, recently you spoke about the fact that India had its first ever Wed in India Expo in Jaipur during the Great Indian Travel Bazaar, GITB. And of course, in December last year, Prime Minister Narendra Modi he made this clarion call for Wed in India,
hmm,
to boost the economy. And of course, a Skift research survey has revealed that Indian destination weddings have created a thriving market, which is estimated to be about $1.9 billion in outbound travel spending.
yeah,
So this surely is something that India wants to keep within its own economy, and that's what the Prime Minister has also said. And then we saw the whole Ambani pre-wedding. Pre-wedding, I think that was happening in India, where we had Rihanna come and do her thing.
yeah,
So and then every every Bollywood star was there. Of course, Shah Rukh Khan was there. I need to mention that.
yeah.
So
It's
yeah,
important.
yeah. So yeah, absolutely. If Shah Rukh Khan is there, then we have to mention him, whether it is out of context or within context. But yeah, I mean, like, this there is this whole thing about how weddings are so big. I did a long feature story on that.
Hmm.
Um, Tell us something about what you learned about the Wed in India Expo. What was happening there?
Oh, so the Wed in India Export was the first one, like you said, and the entire focus was I mean, the Indian government is not just trying to keep the like make Indians have the weddings in India itself. Like they're not just trying to promote that, but they're also trying to place India as a premier wedding destination for everyone globally. Because
Yeah, I mean, Katy Perry got married here. Let's
yes,
not forget that Liz Hurley got married in India. Katy Perry got married in India. So let's not forget that. I mean, like, we've had foreigners coming to India to get married.
yeah, because we have a lot of different offerings for weddings, especially if you want a beach wedding, we have Goa. I mean, we have a big, huge coastal line, so we have several places. But most commonly known one is Goa. Then we have, if you want royalty, it's Rajasthan.
Yeah,
If you want nature, we have a whole different set of pockets. We have Northeast, especially,
Northeast, of course, of
which
course.
is a
My
very,
hometown, Darjeeling,
yes,
and anyone is welcome to get married there.
it is a very, very, I mean, Northeast, especially, it's a very lesser explored area, but it has so much to offer. But that's true for a lot of places in India. And
Hmm.
we also have the infrastructure for it. We have hotels coming up. We know, I mean, Fairmont Jaipur and Raffles Udaipur are kind of the, like, they're amongst the most luxurious hotels, that wedding hotels in India. And then, but so now they're trying, Accor is trying to switch it up and open a Raffles in Jaipur and Fairmont in Udaipur. And then we have Hilton, which is opening its first Waldorf Astoria in India in Jaipur because of the
Hmm.
wedding market that it can attract. So it's not that we don't have the infrastructure or the willingness in terms of industry players, but we don't have the awareness, and that is what the expo was trying to create. We have, you did a story that gave us some stats, like in the November December wedding season of 2023, we had like
Hmm.
3.5 million couples that got married in India, but they cumulatively spent $57 billion. That's not a small amount by
Yeah, I
any
mean,
margin.
$57 billion for wedding. Can you imagine?
And in 3.5
I can't.
3.5 million couples and $57 billion, I mean, if that is the kind of market we're looking at, then absolutely they want to keep that kind of money within India. But let's not forget that there are people, like, destination weddings is a trend that is only recently being seen in India, especially post COVID. But the other markets, they have been toying with the idea of destination weddings for a really long time. So why not India? That's the idea behind this expo, because we have everything to offer. We have worked very hard to create an infrastructure that can support wedding needs, to create an infrastructure that allows that kind of
Yeah,
connectivity.
and nobody can have those. I mean, like, I don't know if any other community has the kind of weddings that Indians have. I mean, Indian weddings are a totally different ball game, right?
We're the big fat wedding
If we can pull that
market.
off, then why not? Why not any?
Yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, we are the big fat Indian wedding market, right? We do everything extravagant, and if we can manage events
Yeah.
of that scale, where like 500, 600 people are coming in for one wedding, we can pull that off. So why can't we do the same for weddings that are much smaller in scale, but equally as elegant, maybe on a different level? But we have all the know-how for it. We have the connectivity for it now, because we know, I mean, sure, India is an underserved aviation market, but we have hubs opening up. We have a lot of connectivity now. We have better roadways. We have better infrastructure in terms of everything. So why, basically, India is trying to position itself as the place to come and get married to. I mean, get married at.
I think we've done our jobs as Indians, trying to tell
Promote.
people why they should get married in India. I think if the Prime Minister is listening to this, he should really
We are the brand
hire us
ambassadors.
to speak on behalf of India. Yeah, I mean, like I think we've done our job. Thank you so much, Bulbul, for this today.
Yeah.
I know that there are a lot more headlines that will be coming out next week, so I hope to talk to you again next week.
Sure.
And for all our readers, thank you so much for listening in, and do subscribe to the Skift India Travel Podcast on your favorite listening app. I'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
This has been the Skift India Travel Podcast. Thank you for listening.